Hello.
Hello everyone, we are back.
We're back. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Board Games, Kyoto, Japan edition.
Yes, we are outside for the first time in a long time. We
Yeah.
have not done a video from the great outdoors. Right now we are in a little area called Arashiyama.
It's the
Arashiyama
Bamboo Grove.
Bamboo Grove.
So it's not a little area. It's actually a bigger area of what is a big area of Japan.
A little
called
area
Kyoto.
next to the main grove.
Yes.
Sorry, I just didn't.
So you exit the grove and there's this clearing
Yeah.
that has some seating and it's kind of uphill. So we kind of found a pocket that's away from people so that we can film this.
We wanted to do it in the bamboo forest, but there's just no way. There's way too many people.
Yes.
There is wildlife though, so I don't think we'll be editing any of that out.
We'll have to audio edit this. So
Somehow.
apologies if the audio is not that great, but we're going to do our best.
And sorry
so,
if my hand's unstable. I apologize.
So many apologies.
Yeah.
Well, this is technically an episode of Let's Talk Board Games because we are going to talk about board games, some board games that we played before we left. So we'll be offering our reviews. But we just wanted to start by doing a little check-in. You know, for in terms of our vacation so far, we're about, how many days in are we? Today is Wednesday?
5 days
I
in.
almost dropped my phone.
We're about a third of the way through.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're about 5 days in. We've done a lot of wonderful things or seen a lot of wonderful things, I guess.
A lot of walking around, looking around, and eating.
It's funny because
That's what most vacations are, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. When we were planning our trip to Japan, a lot of people have been asking, did you use the Let's Go to Japan to help? Yes, we did.
We did,
actually
yeah.
looked through a bunch of the cards, all of the cards, I think, to help come up with some ideas. There are a lot of temples and such that you can explore and go to, but we ended up not really going to any of them because I have this little congestion thing going on, and so we're primarily doing things that are outdoors.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, there's just so much to explore here.
Yeah,
and
the weather's been great.
the weather's been great.
Only one day of big rain, but even that we were able to go out and do stuff.
And the rain was so beautiful.
It's really nice, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of the cultural barrier, the first day we had a bit of trouble, but we quickly became accustomed to it. Everybody here is so nice, so understanding.
Yeah.
Naveen had a debacle yesterday.
I did at a sushi restaurant. Okay, so I do this thing where I like my wasabi in my soy sauce, and I kind of create like a slurry so I can dip the sushi in it. I was looking for the longest time. Monica's using the washroom, and I was just by myself at the table, and I was looking for the wasabi. And I was like, okay, well, this is it. This has to be it. It's green.
Yeah.
I take it.
It's in a canister.
It's in a canister, and I'm like, I open it, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's definitely it. And then I proceed to pour some into my soy sauce, and matcha powder came out.
He put matcha in his soy sauce.
Oops.
For
And I was
anybody-
way too embarrassed to say anything, so I quickly added more
Mixed it.
soy sauce and just whipped it in so that nobody would see the green in there, the green powder. I'm pretty sure that the whole wait staff probably was like, what is this guy doing?
And then he dipped his sushi in
And then
it.
I dipped my first couple sushis in it, and it didn't taste very good. So
He was like, when I came back, he said, Monique, that's matcha. Don't put that in your soy sauce.
exactly.
We were joking about it. Like somebody must have been watching you, right? Like,
Definitely they were watching me.
Look
I'm
at
sure
this
they were
guy
like,
putting
what is he
matcha."
doing? I know.
So-
The second it came out, like poof, like powder, like baby powder, I was like,
yeah.
oh, dang it. I'm stuck.
So here's to that not happening again.
Yeah.
And we did get lost on one train so far.
Just one.
One train. We had to stop, get out, and then walk our way back to the station and take a different train. We also got stuck, kind of stranded at a bus stop because Google Maps led us in the wrong
Google Maps
direction.
said the bus stop was where it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, we've been doing well, I think. In terms of content, we did not film a TWAD before we left. Naveen vetoed me. It's sitting on the table.
I had too much to do beforehand. Yeah, I had too much work that I had to
Day-job
take
work.
care. Day job work that I had to take care of before going on a 2-week trip. That it's just like those are deadlines and stuff. I had to dedicate to that.
Yeah.
But I am ready to film that though whenever we get back.
Yeah,
home.
right when we get back, we'll be filming that. It's on the table. Otherwise, we did check out a board game store here. So far, one board game store. We also visited a board game cafe. And I introduced Naveen to Nova Luna.
Yeah.
You know, that's
finally
not a
got
game.
to play it.
It's not a game that we'll be covering as a part of our series because we don't actually own it, but it is an Uwe Rosenberg game. And it's kind of what started the whole line of Sagani, Framework, those types of games.
So we played Sagani.
We haven't covered that.
I have not done Framework. Have you played Framework?
I've played Framework.
You played it? Yeah. Okay.
I still think that Nova Luna is my favorite
I liked it.
of them all.
Yeah.
It's definitely the most analysis paralysis inducing.
I definitely felt that way. If you're not familiar with Nova Luna, you're basically just trying to put tiles next to other tiles in a like kind of almost like a planned fashion as much as possible.
Abstract.
But it has kind of that patchwork element where it's like where your pawn, where the main pawn is, you can only select the next 3 tiles. You take those tiles and you place it orthogonally against something that's already in your tableau, and then you're trying to basically match colors according to the previous or predecessor tiles that are out there. So just deciding which tile to take, how far is this going to move my pawn? Okay, it's not going to be my turn anymore. It's the other player's turn, and I liked it. It was a lot to think about, and it's definitely one. I think that one's on BGA.
Yes, it is. It's definitely on BGA. So
that'll probably be in rotation
if you have an account or something. So we played that. Naveen won.
I barely did.
But that was a good time, and and they were super nice at the Board Game Cafe. So we'll be exploring more board game related areas, I guess, as soon as we get to Tokyo. As for games, we did bring a few games with us, some that we've played before and loved, and some that we've never played. So we basically scoured our library looking for Japanese themed games that are small.
That will travel well,
Yeah, and we brought them with us. So we'll be making a couple of videos while we're here, so stay tuned for that. And other than that, shall we get to the reviews?
Let's talk about them.
All right, so we're going to talk about 3 games today, 2 of which are Japanese themed, I guess, slightly, and one that has nothing to do with anything. So let's start with that one, the random one.
Sure.
The first game is a game that was designed by Rodrigo Rego and published by Devere, and it is called, I think it's called
Savernake Forest.
Savernake Forest. I keep calling it Savernake.
Yeah.
I guess it's not pronounced that way.
I had to look it up.
Yeah.
I had to look up the pronunciation. Yeah.
This is a game for 2 to 4 players. We played it with my sister was visiting. It looks super cute. The box looks super cute. And basically what you're doing here is you're building a grid of cards. Of
square cards.
And the cards are going to be made up of animals and their paths, because on each animal card shows how many food items along a path they can pick up and how many points each food item is worth, as well as how many points the actual animal is worth. And so you're just creating this grid of cards that have animals eating the food along the path. Yeah,
you're basically, there's 4 different types of foods that can be on these cards. And essentially, you have a home base for each animal that you have in your tableau. And that animal is trying to hoard food for the winter. And so basically, they have a certain preference for value of types of produce or food. So there's berries, nuts, and a couple other ones. And so eggs to me might be 0, but it might be 2 to Monique.
Right.
So you're trying to basically get high valued goods as close to your home base as possible.
For each animal.
For each animal, yeah, because you can only collect at the very end of the game the X amount of
food items.
Food items. I want to say produce. The X amount of goods that are as close to your home base. So you want to increase your storage capacity so that you can have a further reach to then get those goods and bring it back home and score at the end of the game.
And so it's a very simple game. On your turn, there's a market that is always going to have 4 cards face up. It's 3 path cards and 1 animal card. And so on your turn, you're going to select one of those, and it doesn't refill because there's only going to be the 4 available per round. And so if I take one that belongs to the rooster, then in addition, I also get the rooster token, which will give me the first choice next round. If I take one that belongs to the rabbit, I don't remember now what the animals are on the tableau, then I get either the water droplet, which will increase the value of one of my food items that are on an animal card.
So if eggs were 0 and you're like, well, I have a ton of eggs on my path. Okay, let's make eggs at least 1. You put that water droplet on, and now all your eggs are worth 1 instead of 0.
Right. There's another animal where when you take its card, it gives you these tokens that allow you to increase the distance that that animal can pick up food from. And then the final card is an animal card.
Right.
And so you basically play until everybody has completed their entire grid, and then you score for each animal.
Right.
And so what did you think of it?
You know, when it was taught, like when you explained the rules, I was like, oh, this sounds clever. But when we actually got into the thick of it, it kind of fell flat. Like, I don't know what it was.
Same way. When I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is going to be really interesting. It sounded really thinky and cute. The artwork is super cute. But when we kind of got into it, we were like, okay, it was missing that like it factor to make it fun, right? To make it more fun. And my sister felt the same way too.
Yeah, and your sister does not want to typically play a lot of board games. And that weekend when she was visiting and we were playing a bunch of games, she was oohing and awing about other games. But this particular one, you could just feel that like it was like even she's not really enjoying this as much. So I don't know. There's something about it like it's a good game, but the enjoyment factor is just not there.
Mechanics-wise, you mean?
Mechanics-wise, it's good.
Yeah,
it's solid.
mechanics-wise, it's solid.
Yeah.
It works well. The enjoyment factor is just not quite there.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. It's a very fast game. It's
Quick.
like 20 minutes. 20
It's
to,
filler.
it says 20 to 40 minutes on BGG, but you can play it pretty quickly. So you're in and out of it nice and quick, which is a plus. But otherwise, yeah, just okay.
Just okay. Yeah.
All right, next up we have a game that is Japanese themed.
Super relevant.
Because it is based off of something, a phenomenon that exists here in Japan. And it's called Gasha. This is a game that was released in 2021, actually, and it's designed by Jason Levine and published by, I think, 25th Century Games here. And so this game is all based off of these, I think they're called gachapon, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
They're basically these machines that have these toys in them here in Japan, where you put coins in. You know what theme the toys are, so maybe it's all like Mario themed. But when you put your money in and you turn
Crank
the
the
thing,
wheel.
you
Yep.
crank the wheel, the ball comes out that has a toy in it. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. So it's push your luck
Yeah.
because you know the theme of what you're getting, but you don't know exactly which figure you're getting.
Exactly, yeah.
So there are a ton of those here. We got a couple of stuff like for my niece and nephew. And they have some really funny ones here too.
And like these they have like Gasha centers here, like where
Yeah.
it's like almost like an arcade where
Yeah.
you just basically go in, you put money in, and you're gonna get something. So it kind of has this like a little bit of like a excitement factor as
Yeah.
well as collectors like desires kind of factor.
They have them everywhere.
they're everywhere.
Like they're just like outside of stores.
Think of it like
too.
a vending machine
Yeah.
in some places, but then there's also some establishments that
Yeah.
are actually like businesses that run these things.
Right.
So,
We saw one
yeah.
that was like Denny's themed. There was one that was like
household cleaners. Like
yeah.
you get little mini household cleaners, not real, but like just
keychains.
Keychains, yeah.
There was a
stuff like that.
car parking a lot one.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is a game that's based off of that, but it's a card game. And so in this game, you're basically just trying to complete these achievement cards.
Yep.
Some of them will call for like,
Have 3 of the same type of one Gasha
Yeah.
and 2 of another.
yeah, so it's set
It's
collection.
like set collection, order fulfillment almost. Yeah, with your hand.
And so on your turn, you either turn in cards from your hand to complete these achievements and score points, or you draw 2 cards from the market, the display of sorts. And that's where the Gasha part comes in, because the cards on the back, it tells you what the possibilities, the actual front of the card are, but you don't know exactly which card it's going to be.
Very thematic in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the whole Gasha part of it. You're basically just doing that, completing the achievement cards. Some of the achievement cards will show these tickets that have like one color on them. And if you complete 2 ticket halves that have the same color, then you also get this like bonus token. And that's pretty much it. It's very simple.
Super light.
It plays up to 6 players. So
Okay.
you can play quite a few players with this game, and it's really quick. It's a really quick card game. My sister really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So that says something, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't play a whole lot of games, but she really enjoyed it. I think she won.
She
in
did.
fact.
Yeah, she did.
I was pleasantly surprised. I think it's, it's okay.
I didn't enjoy it.
You didn't
okay.
enjoy it.
It's okay.
I thought it was cute. I thought it was clever
It's
in
fine.
that sense. It really, the theme shone out in terms of a card game, but it is a very light,
Super light.
just like the lightest that you can get.
It's weird. Like I
probably.
enjoy light games. I enjoy light card games, but this one was kind of like
Too light?
there was some no-brainer stuff going on in it. It's like, well, I have the things that card in the middle says to do.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm gonna do it.
It's not going to be a hit for everybody. I think for anybody who's like really enthused
Yeah.
by Japanese culture and
Yeah.
stuff like that, they'll probably really enjoy it, especially non-gamers. But it was okay.
Yeah.
All right, the third and final game that we're going to be discussing today is a game that was designed by Koota Yamada and published by Sorry We Are French, at least our edition is. And this is actually from 2015, so it's not new. It's called Iki, a game of Edo artisans. So we actually got to play this at several player counts, including at 4 players, which I believe is the maximum player count. And this is a Euro game. In this game, you are artisans, I believe, in Japan.
In the Edo period.
In the
yeah.
Edo period. And you are setting up your stalls and trying to encourage people to use your stalls or basically mingle with the workers that you have out there. And then there's a lot of set collection, and whoever has the most points wins.
Okay.
And so basically the game is played over the course of several rounds, and each round has 2 phases. The first phase, you're selecting how many steps your worker can move around this rondel sort of system that the board has.
Which is the market.
Which is the market, yes. And that also dictates the turn order. And then in the second phase, I guess, during actions, on your turn, you get to move that number of spaces around. Wherever you stop your worker on is where you get to visit and actually take the action of, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It's technically like a worker placement rondelle-ish. And so you will have the opportunity to hire workers. And whenever you hire these workers or basically artisans, you place their card on the board and they are the worker placement spot. So if somebody utilizes your artisan, your little worker, they're called something in the rule book. They actually have names. But the little worker will progress up the card, and as soon as it gets to the very top of the card, then it goes into your own tableau, so you'll be able to score at the end of the game for tableau scoring. The longer it stays on the board, though, the more opportunities you have to score points for it at the end of each round. Depending on how many like-type colors are in its section, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a strange game. I've never really played anything like it. Have you?
I don't know. It there's a familiarity to it, but then there's also a lot of unique elements to it at the same time. Like the familiarity is distance selection, your turn order is going to determine how far you're going to move. So there's that element of well, I can see I want to go 3 spaces ahead, so that means I'm going to have to go second, in order to take that. So that is nothing new, but in terms of trying to get and maintain your cards on the board, and also trying to make sure that they do not level up too fast, for end of round scoring. So sometimes you want people to visit your stall so you get the passive thing, but then sometimes you're don't visit it too soon now. I need that thing to be there.
I'd like it to be there so I can score the points for having the card, the like-type colors there.
So people will know, the end of the round's coming, and all right, I'm going to go to Monique's thing so that she can't score it, because that's going to be bad for us.
And there's a lot of different types of set collection, I guess not different types. You can also purchase fish, and that's going to score you a certain number of points at the end of the game. There's a track that you want to make sure you go up on to prepare for the fires, because the fires will come, and Naveen got burned by that a couple of times. It was so funny because when we were playing our 4-player game of it, we had a friend walk up to our table and he was like, "Oh, I played this game before. From what I remember, the fires are not so bad. Don't worry about the fires."
He's like, "I never had any problems with fire." So then I set myself up in all these non-flame retardant places. And just got burned big time by it.
Naveen got burned a couple of times.
I took his advice a little too much. I think he probably not lucked into, but
he was
found
prepared.
Found an accidental strategy that was the fire is fine, no problem.
Yes. Other than that, I believe the only thing we're missing is you can also build buildings at a certain point in the game, and so I thought it was really interesting. Mechanically, it's quite sound. That is a Euro game that is pretty solid in my opinion.
There's different paths to victory. Definitely. I try to do buildings early, and that's definitely not. I don't think that's a strategy at all.
It depletes your resources.
It depletes your resources. So I found myself behind because I was like, "Oh, buildings have a lot of points. I have an opportunity to build towards that." And then I realized, oh, there's not enough action spots that have developed in the game, because remember, like Monique was saying, once you place out a card, that creates some of the action spots. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get this building stuff. Spent resources. I was like, oh no, I can't get to the next level of this thing because there's none of these actions out here. So now I'm at the mercy of other people going around and setting myself up for this. So I found myself way behind. So just be aware of that if you are going to play this game.
And also because of the sort of contributory nature of the game, where you create the worker placement spots and such, it does seem like it's best at higher player counts. But because of that, it's also quite chaotic. So I didn't really, for me, it was just okay, because I felt like there was too many things that I couldn't control. There were moments where I wanted to leave the artisan on the board to score more points, and I could not, for some reason, predict that somebody else was going to go to that spot and bump my artisan off the board. Stuff like that was happening. I just felt like it was a little bit chaotic in a 4-player game for a Euro game. Too much that was out of my control.
I see.
But it would not, I guess you wouldn't really get the full experience of it at lower player counts. So it was kind of a different one for me. I appreciate the uniqueness of the design and how I haven't really played anything like it so far, even though, like you were mentioning, it's a lot of the same mechanisms that we have seen, just not put together in this way. But it was interesting.
For me, I think I like the game. I think I want to try it now at 3 players, because we've only played it a couple times at 4, And I do know that kind of that chaotic kind of nature of things. So I'm wondering like what 3 players kind of feels like, where
Yeah, we haven't played it.
there's just that extra person putting something out. It's not as limited as a 2-player game, but it gets to your turn just that much faster. So you have a little bit more control and less chaos because of that 4th player.
Yeah. So anyway, that is about it. You know, as usual, please let us know your thoughts. If you played these games before, let us know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. The sun is about setting now, and we are starting to get eaten by some sort of bug. So we're going to end it here for now, but stay tuned for some videos coming up, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.